Hello, everyone, and welcome to GDWC Plays. I'm your host, Matthias, for today, and I thought I'd start off with telling and explaining what the GDWC is for all you out there that is watching this. GDWC stands for Game Development World Championship, and it's a yearly competition where game developers from all over the world come together and compete for the title of the best games in a couple of different categories. So today we have this format called GDWC Plays, and today it's going to be some kind of hybrid between gameplay and a talk show. We have 5 games. We have 5 developers, one for each game, and we also have 2 players. So from the GDWC, Milla and Antti, that will play the games, and we will have a little chat with the devs. The 5 games today, they are Stellar Warfare with from Tense Games, Sons of Ra with Pharaoh Hound Games, You Suck at Parking by Happy Volcano, Hazel Sky by Coffee Addict Studio, and Foregone with Big Blue Bubble. We'll start off with Stellar Warfare. Hello, are you there?
Hello, yes.
Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, everything is really good here. Antti, you can start playing and please introduce the game to us.
Yeah, I think the best thing to show right now is probably the single player. Um, yeah, it's easier to get into, and I'm not sure if you guys have another player right now that's ready. And there's not many people who have access to the game right now, so the the multiplayer rooms will probably be very empty. Stellar Warfare is a game inspired by games like Red Alert, Homeworld, Sins of a Solar Empire, like the more classical RTS games that you had, I don't know, around the year 2000, I think most of them were. Games like Supreme Commander as well. And the goal of the game is to get like a classic as possible RTS experience, but also offer some depth in terms of the things that people can do, the amount of units they can customize, and things like that.
Can I
All
stop
right.
you for a moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think your mic settings are wrong. It doesn't take voice sound from your headset. So there's the
Oh,
cam and mic option and then audio.
Yeah, I think it's actually from your computer.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's probably the old webcam that I'm using.
Yeah,
Let's see.
it sounds like it's
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, now it's 10 times better, probably.
It's
Yep.
10
Now
times
it's
Yeah.
better. Thank you. Let's continue.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is the the perks of doing live shows. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So
It
you were
it add
saying.
ex yeah, it adds extra flair to the whole
Yeah,
presentation.
definitely.
Um, yeah, well, basically, Stellar Warfare is inspired by games like Red Alert, Command and Conquer series, Supreme Commander, like the classic RTS games. And the goal of the game is to have new players be able to jump in and just play in a way that they're familiar with if they played like the old RTS games, but also offer things that reward them for playing longer, like loot drops, a way to customize your ships. Um, and there's a lot of possibilities there. There's base building, ship customization, economy, like the usual things you'd expect from an RTS game. The best thing to do is probably the wave survival, and I would put the time before the first wave a little bit higher. Let's see, what is it at right now? Or just go.
Yeah. Difficulty 1. Here we go.
Yeah. Maybe just put it on. 7 minutes is fine. Wave interval. Yeah, sure. Yeah, something like this. I mean, it's currently pretty hard, like the wave survival, and people have been failing it at difficulty 1 because the waves come too fast after each other. But this is a way, yeah, for people to get familiar with the game, build some economy, get to know some of the ships, see some enemy ships that have different loadouts than the ones you currently have unlocked. So, yeah, that's the purpose of wave defense. I actually made it as a bonus because the original goal was to add like a multiplayer experience and focus it on multiplayer almost entirely. Um, but since then, this wave defense has become, yeah, it has become really popular and more popular than the multiplayer even. So yeah, I'm gonna put some more time into this part as well.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about that. Is it done or where are we right now?
We're still in development. I mean, a game like this, uh, it's never done. You know, like you can keep adding features, you can keep polishing the controls. Look at games like StarCraft, for instance. They have new content coming out. I don't know what the interval is now, but it's probably weekly or a monthly or whatever. And that game is also like 10 years old. But right now, I would say that in about 5 months, I want to release the game. So until then, I'm just gonna polish, add some more features, and yeah, just improve upon what there currently is.
All right. So the feedback has been really good so far, or you
Yeah,
were featured on the Steam Game Festival.
yeah, yeah, and people have been enjoying it, and some people have some difficulties getting used to the controls because it's 3D space, obviously. And yeah, the economy is difficult to figure out for new players as well, at least in the beginning. But yeah, after a game or two, you get a hang of it, and you get better and better with each game. So I think that part is fine. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, can you tell us anything about the game, where we are right now, what we're doing?
Yeah, like in a few minutes, enemies are going to attack. Um, your job is to repel them and survive, basically. So it's a good idea to save some resources while you still can. Build up some economy, build some power plants. Right now, it seems to be going fine in terms of income, but you can also send some of the smaller ships to the neutral stations that you see in the minimap. They're the greenish icons, and they also give you extra resources.
All right. Uh, yeah.
Once the enemies come in, they sometimes drop loot when you defeat them, and that can be a new ship frame, it can be a new weapon, it can be a new module, and those are things that you use to upgrade your ships. Each ship can have up to 5 weapons and up to 5 modules, and that allows for a lot of customization. There's currently 30 ships in the game, about 30-ish weapons, and about 30 modules as well. And someone did the math at some point, and it's a few million combinations or something along those lines, uh, in terms of how much you can customize your ships and your fleet. And so yeah, that leaves a lot of options for players to fight against each other. You can go for a really tanky fleet. You can go for a harassment fleet that focuses mostly on killing enemy harvesters, for instance. There's a lot of rock paper scissors elements in how you build up your fleet, your ships, and you can even, if you want to, only make buildings as well. You can move a surveyor near the enemy base because you can build next to surveyors and then just build fortifications near his base. So you're not confined to only ships. Yeah, there's lots of ways in which you can play the game.
All right. For some reason, I really get like Battlestar Galactica vibes from this. Did you have
Yeah,
that in mind?
yeah. There's Fleck in the game, and I love Battlestar Galactica, so that's Oh, you could, by the way, try to press C. I think this is the latest Steam version. So if you press C, it should enter cinematic mode.
Oh,
But yeah, there's no fighting going on yet. But
all right. Yeah, this is cool.
yeah, and you can press G to hide the GUI, press I to hide the icons, and H to hide the health bars, but the health bars are already gone. But once the fighting starts, yeah, this looks really cool. This is one of the first implementations of the cinematic camera. Um, yeah, we're obviously going to fine tune it a little bit more. But when there's lots of missiles flying around, lots of projectiles, lots of flak, yeah, this looks really interesting, I think.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the first wave to come.
Yeah, it should come any moment now. People have told me like, yeah, it would be nice if there's like some sort of in-game timer as well to display how long it's going to take uh, before the next wave actually comes. So we added that to our to-do list, but our to-do list is insanely long, so we have to prioritize almost constantly. This is one of the features that will be added to the game soon. I would say within the next month. Um, but yeah, there's lots of things people still want. People still want carriers. People still want shields. You already have shields around buildings, but the current player doesn't have the resources for that. But if you select a building, in the bottom of the screen, you can see the shield upgrade. We plan to add upgrades as well for extra health and other features, so that your buildings aren't just buildings, but they actually have some functionality as well.
All right. So I just wanted to know what was the biggest challenges when you started working on this game, or in the process so far.
I would say, the programming part is definitely difficult, but if you want to have some form of success, you also need to make sure that the marketing is being done and that people know about your game. And I feel like that, yeah, to reach your goals in terms of marketing is very difficult when you're not affiliated with a publisher yet, or yeah, basically doing everything yourself. Then you have to do the marketing, you have to do the sorting of the project management part, you have to do the audio. It's just a lot of work, and I could keep working on this game for 5 to 10 years if I wanted to, but yeah, the finances probably wouldn't allow that, first of all, because right
Yeah.
now I'm living off of donations people give me on Patreon. Like Tense Games has a Patreon, and yeah, the donations I get there are basically what's enabling me to keep being able to put this much time into this project. It might be different as soon as the game is actually released and I get some income from that as well. But for now, that's
Yeah.
without that support, this wouldn't be possible at all.
Yeah, I can figure. So you are working sort of alone on this, or do you have co-workers as well? Or
I have been working alone on this. However, in the last 2 months, a programmer has joined and he has done a lot of cool new things. One of the things is a shield, which you can add by clicking the shipyard, for instance, and then pressing the shield button in the bottom of the screen. And yeah, features like that really elevate the game to the next level. So it's really good that those type of things have been added. But I've been working on it mostly alone and mostly yeah, next to my full-time job at first, but now I'm working on this full-time.
all right, yeah. So you talked about the audio as well. How how did you make the music for this? Because I really like the score. It's a really cool soundtrack for this one.
Yeah, the soundtrack is actually made by a composer named Gregory Tan, and he composed some clips, and those tracks are already, I think, 2 years old or something by now. But they fit the game really well, and hopefully he can do some more tracks in the future. But for now, we're using those. In terms of the other audio, a lot of it is taken from video clips of like footage on YouTube, and then converted, put into Audacity, and changed so that it becomes its own sound. Some of them I'm not that satisfied with. I added 30 new sounds to the game recently, among which are the missile sounds, and I don't like them that much as they currently are. So I still need to tweak those as well.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, we were today. We had it in the background when we were tweaking around with the streaming, and already in the first window that opens, the soundtrack was really like popping. I thought it was that some of us had put on some background music, but it was some movie score or something. But it
Yeah.
was the game, so really liked it. So
Yeah, I'm really happy with that as well. I want to tweak some of the sounds a bit more and give it like a really space underwater type vibe, because obviously there's no sound in space, as people love to keep telling me. But that would make a very boring game if there was no sound in space. So I wanted to add mostly muffled sounds and sounds that are really um, almost sounds as if underwater or heavy on the bass, and that works really well for this setting, I think. I don't like the health bars. I always disable them myself unless I'm in combat, and then I just toggle them on and off really quickly, because I wanted to make to be a visually appealing game as well. So there's been tons of iterations of skyboxes. The cinematic camera really helps. We're gonna make it so that when you press the C button in the future, it also hides the GUI, and it hides the health bars, and it hides basically everything, so that you just basically watching at some sort of space opera type of thing. But those are things we're still adding.
all right. Yeah.
Hyperspace exit detected.
It's fairly easy right now, with some light ships spawning every. I think we put the timer on like 6 minutes, so that's gonna take a while. But there's currently 10 waves, and we're playing on difficulty 1 right now. If the difficulty would have been 3 or 4, then basically the entire base would be under attack right now with light ships, medium ships, and maybe even some heavy ships already. But most people don't make it past wave 5 on difficulty 2, I think. So it's fairly challenging, and there's lots of ways in which people can improve on their skill with this game.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for enemies out there.
If you press I, then you can probably see the icons again. We've just hidden them earlier. And the camera, there we go. You can inspect them as well if you mouse over them. At least in single player, you see the ship frame name. You see what kind of weaponry they have, and like the basic flavor text for each vessel. These are still light ships. Light ships are triangles. It makes them really easy to identify. Medium ships are octagons, and heavy ships are squares. So you can just tell right away what type of enemies are coming your way. Some weapons are good against light, some weapons are good against medium, some are good against heavy, some are good against buildings. So it's really important to build your ships in a way that really allows you to counter enemy fleet compositions.
Yeah. All right. Seems like we have. Oh, here we go. Now it starts.
Yeah, maybe press C now, and then hopefully it will focus on the right thing. And press H for the to disable the health bars again. But yeah, we're gonna make it so that it always focuses on the action, and you get like really cool footage Right now, there's only two ships attacking, but usually the fights are a lot bigger. And if you have 10 ships versus 10 ships with flag fields, missiles, beam weapons, yeah, I'm starting to become happy with where this is going, basically.
Yeah, this is definitely looking good so far.
Not enough population.
Yeah, as I said, we talked before. This is sort of like a nostalgic feel also with those like Command and Conquer games, but in 3D, as you said. So yeah, this is really interesting.
Yeah,
Insufficient metal.
yeah. I wanted to add some unit quotes as well. I asked basically random strangers on the internet, like, hey, this is the format in which I need unit quotes. Can you make some? Can you send me some? And I think that in total, like 40 people have sent me some voice lines, and I implemented, I think, 20 of them in the game. So yeah, different ships have different voice actors, and they're just basically almost exclusively people who are interested in the game and who wanted to help out with
Yeah,
adding
that's
stuff.
Yeah, that's a fun fact
Construction
actually.
complete.
You didn't need to hire any actors for it, or
No, it might have been better, but like in the old Red Alert games, when you selected units, they had sort of like cheesy-ish unit quotes as well, and they had heavy accents. So it was really interesting to have like random people vocalize the unit orders and pick out those that worked well within the game and use those. And yeah, I think that was a fun process as well.
Reporting to new location.
Maybe I don't know how much time is left, but maybe we can leave this game and maybe start a new one on a really high difficulty, and see how many ships start flying in. And
yeah, exactly.
because that's gonna be a pretty big difference, I think.
Yeah.
Just put the difficulty all the way up to 10, and then we'll
see how long he survives.
yeah. I mean, we don't have to win this game anyway. It's more like showing where it's going. I usually make a power plant first and a refinery, and then an advanced power plant, so that I have like a steady base income. But lots of players have lots of different ways of building their economy. If you unlock the escalation buildings, which is like the bottom button,
Construction complete.
you can also build refiners and synergizers, and those boost the income of nearby buildings. So if you build a refiner next to a refinery, every harvester that drops off ore there generates extra income. And it's the same for the synergizer near power plants or near one of the neutral Zabu generators.
Construction complete.
Yeah, that strategy sounds like what I used to do in games like this. I'm really defensive usually and build up my guard and win the enemy slowly.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually had an idea yesterday about a certain tactic, and I played against one of the supporters, Bregman. And I unlocked heavy ships right away, which costs quite a bit to unlock. And then I made a heavy ship with just anti-building weaponry, and I sent it straight towards his base while he was still working on economy.
Yeah.
And that was a really fun experiment, and I actually got to his base and I got to damage some stuff, but I did mess up some movement orders. So eventually he managed to defeat me with light units with anti-heavy weaponry. So I failed in that regard, but it was still fun to see how he reacted to it, and it got me thinking, like, how can I beat this guy in the future? Like, how can I make this basically cheese tactic work? And yeah, I love figuring out things like that. And also in the ship editor, you can add modules to your ships, like shield modules or health modules or stuff like that. And that allows you to stack stats basically. You can add 4 health modules, you can add 4 speed modules, you can add a combination of those. You can add modules that reduce the cost of the ship, repair modules. So there's lots of options to customize your ships and to think of new tactics to defeat your opponent with.
Not enough population.
Ship reporting. Reporting to
RNG in what way? RNG as in loot, or as in the way the projectiles are fired? Because all the projectile fire is physics based. So each projectile can miss, and you can dodge each projectile.
Hyperspace.
See, that's a slightly bigger wave one. The loot is random as well. You can find a weapon, you can find a ship, or you can find a module, and those are randomized. And each of the ships coming towards the player is also randomized in terms of
Not
weaponry,
enough population.
modules, and stuff like that. Not completely randomized though, because there's a certain chance of ships getting more of the same weapon simply because it looks cool.
Moving.
And this wave will probably be a bit harder to repel, and but it might look good in the cinematic camera. So that's the most important part, I think.
Yeah.
And then after this attack, the time for us is probably up, and we'll
that's about the half hour we have. Let's hope we can see some shooting action here before.
Yeah, maybe press I as well to hide the unit icons, and then we'll maybe leave it like this for a bit, or end it here.
Yeah, there's some internet trouble over here. It's been acting up for the last month or so because of snowstorms and stuff like that outside. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we are a bit higher up, so it's actually like full on winter outside. So yeah. So
yeah, it's really cold here as well.
All right. Do you want to add something? Do you want to tell us something more about the game? You know, what you are most happy about? What would you like to change if you would like to change something?
Well, the goal of the game was to deliver an experience, like deliver a game that looked good, sounded good, and is basically as close as possible to a triple A quality game. Obviously, you can't do that when you work on it with just 2 guys, but we want to get as close as possible, deliver as much quality as possible, and make it as much fun as possible. So that it's a game that me as an RTS fan would love to play myself as well. And yeah, like the main thing driving this project now are the people who support me on Patreon, on the Tense Games Patreon, and I just want to thank those guys for making it possible to be able to work on this almost full time for months now. And if anybody else wants to support me there, they can, and they can get rewards like their names on ships in game, or weapons of their design added to the game, stuff like that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this is all for this, and let's see if we can get soonish the next one on here.